A very good afternoon to everybody, those in-house and those online. First of all, we would want to apologize for delaying a bit of technical issues here and there. But we are starting, so once again, thank you very much for joining, for being part of this phenomenal program. If you were here with us last semester, you would know that we had a series of this sort. But today's one is the first ever one we are having since this semester started. My name is Sabina Osam Sasa, and I have been with this center for some time now. This is the Nketia Center for Africana Studies. The Nketia Center for Africana Studies. Now, the person going to be leading us today is not just any other person. He's someone that if you get closer to him, you realize that there's a lot more to him than you even see. So he would come and he would introduce himself. He will go over whatever he has for us today, and you understand what I'm talking about. But before then, it is only right that I give us a short bio about him. So he is in the person of Kwabena Baffour Awuah. He is the great-grandson of the chief in the Ashanti Imperial Army. He began his spiritual journey as a school chaplain. Yes, a school chaplain. He was a chorister in the Presbyterian Church. He became a Mormon and served as a prophet of the tabernacle of the Ethiopia African Black International Church. Okay, so in his quest for knowledge, it led him to the Tigari Shrine in Ghana, and later to India, Nepal, and Tibet. He explored the Sufi mystery in West Africa and was crowned king Bowile Alomazi I in Benin, and he earned an honorary doctorate in leadership. He currently serves as the front desk representative for the International Human Rights Committee on African Indigenous Religions, that is the Ghana chapter, and he operates a healing house and a spiritual temple. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for JUJU. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome everyone. How are you? Great. Again, we apologize for our tardy start, but we are happy that you are able to join us today. My name is Professor Mankutam, also known as Tracy Flemming. I'm the acting director of the Kwabena and Nketia Center for Africana Studies, and I'm also an associate professor in the School of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences here at African University of Communications and Business. So I'd like to give a few remarks about Africana Studies in general and about the Africana webinar series in particular, while integrating some information about the mission of this center. First, I'll note that since the creation of the world's first educational institutions in Africa, there have been three elements that are central to the mission of Black Studies since its origins in the second half of the 1960s. And these are cultural grounding, academic excellence, and social responsibility. These elements have been significant factors that many educators place an emphasis on as a part of teaching and advising students. And these factors remain central dimensions of the leading Africana Studies programs in the 21st century. The Kwabena and Nketia Center for Africana Studies seeks to become the center of intellectual and social life at AUCB for all things related to the Africa-centered study of Africa and the African world community. The Nketia Center is positioned to accomplish this lofty goal by virtue of its being located in the heart of the city of Accra. Africana Studies programming that reflects our global approach to Africana Studies and continued collaboration with other areas and units inclusive of continental Africa and the African diaspora, is central to our commitment to creating a dynamic space of intellectual and social life related to Africa and the African world community. The aim of the Nketia Center at AUCB is to serve as the foundation of the university's commitment to ensuring that its overall mission is African-centered. The Nketia Center is an interdisciplinary institution dedicated to the study and advancement of knowledge about the peoples and cultures of Africa and the African diaspora through scholarly research, teaching, and publications aimed at the regeneration of African peoples and societies. Programs in the Nketia Center are designed to do 5 things. Number 1, to create and deepen students' awareness of themselves as Africans. Number 2, to enable students to come to an understanding of Africa's role in the world from an African perspective. Number 3, to give students knowledge of African philosophy, religions, and values that will instill confidence in them so that they can function as citizens and contribute their lot to society. Number 4, to introduce students to indigenous knowledge systems in Africa so that they can appreciate Africa's contributions to universal knowledge and be inspired by it. And number 5, to understand the African diaspora as a foundational presence in the creation of civilization in the Americas and elsewhere in the world. In regard to the mission of the center, the Kwabena Nketia Center for Africana Studies is committed to becoming a leading center for Pan-African scholarship and collaboration, bringing together scholars and thinkers from the African world to contribute research and deliberate on issues affecting the welfare and destiny of African people, and to disseminate their findings as widely as possible. Additionally, the center will be an incubator for innovative research to generate new knowledge that advances professional practice for those at the cutting edge of transformative development. This university is not merely a university in Africa with an African label. It is an African university with an ethos and the explicit intent to produce graduates who fully understand, appreciate, and unapologetically manifest their Africanness in all spheres of their lives. We welcome you to the Africana webinar series at the Nketia Center at AUCB. This is a captivating 3-part series exploring the metaphysics and science of JUJU and other African occult practices. This installment invites participants to journey into the hidden dimensions of African spiritual technologies, their origins, power systems, and applications in modern life. The Africana webinar series is a prelude to the Professional Development Certificate in Africana Divinity Studies that will be offered at the Nketia Center at the African University of Communications and Business. For the next 3 weeks, we will explore the following topics. Number 1, etymology of the science of JUJU. Number 2, JUJU, ancient technology versus modern science. And number 3, JUJU, an interfaith perspective. This 3rd installment will be in conjunction with Sankofa, the KNCAS film series. The film series will screen a short film by Mohameda El Muhajir. It is a film entitled When Malcolm Smiled, which chronicles the life of Omawali El Haj Malik Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X, during his visit to independent Ghana. Again, It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Kwabena Nketia Center for Africana Studies at the African University of Communications and Business. And it is my pleasure and an honor to introduce you to our featured main speaker. Thank you very much.
Hello? 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 The energy is a bit low. Before we begin, could we all respectfully stand up just for a minute? Revive our energies, you know. Can we all just shake off all the lethargy? Yeah, shake off the lethargy, shake everything off. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Okay. All right. Then could we all breathe in and then exhale? Breathe in with intention and exhale. One more time, please. In and out. Beautiful. Please, you can sit. Yes, thank you all very much for being present today. Those that are present here and those that are online. And we encountered certain challenges and which I knew we were going to encounter. And the reason why I knew we were going to encounter these challenges is that the universe has a way of creating equal and opposite reactions to every energy that we put out. I need you to remember this. Every energy that you put out creates an equal and what? Opposite reaction. For instance, when you put in a lot of work to make money, right? Or you put in a lot of work trying to hustle, trying to make money, what is the equal reaction to that? Riches, right? You can buy a very beautiful car, right? That's an equal reaction. You'll be able to buy or build yourself a beautiful mansion, right? That's an equal reaction. So if you buy yourself a beautiful car, you buy yourself a beautiful house, and you have the most beautiful woman in your corner, what will be the opposite reaction to that? That's going to create an opposite reaction. And what will be the opposite reaction? What will be the opposite reaction if you make all this money? You have the best life, the best cars, the best houses, the best businesses. That is an equal measure or an equal reaction to the work that you have put in to make the money. But then that same energy that you have put out is going to create an opposite reaction. Now we are talking about the equal reaction. I want the opposite reaction. The opposite reaction is jealousy. Right? Even though you put in effort to make that money, to make your life comfortable for you, but then it's going to create an opposite reaction, which is jealousy, hatred, enviness. What else? Come again, please. Bitterness. From people around you, right? And even it could come from people that you yourself, you are using your own resources to facilitate. That you are using your own resources to help. I'm telling you this so you understand that whatever you put out creates a positive and a negative reaction. Every energy you put out creates a positive and a negative reaction. And since we are putting out a very powerful energy, trying to talk about the subject matter of JUJU, the subject matter of JUJU, then it means we are incorporating the whole universe. Now we are stepping on toes We are stepping on toes that are visible and invisible. So the universe is going to test our resolve to see whether we are all about what we are saying. So the hiccup that we had today is just an opposite reaction to the positive energy that we are trying to put out there. So for those online, I'm very grateful that you've born with us, and you know how these things go, and we are very grateful for your patience as well. So the subject matter of JUJU, when you hear JUJU, what's the first thing that comes into mind? JUJU, when you hear JUJU, what's the first thing? Please speak up. Charm. Evil person. Charm, evil person. Okay, anything negative? JUJU, anything negative? Killing. Witchcraft. Spiritual marriage. What else comes into mind when we talk about JUJU? Black magic. Voodoo. Okay. So we've already had spiritual marriage, voodoo, charms, ogbanje, dark witchcraft, negativity, evil, black magic. Yes. Anything else that comes into mind when we talk about JUJU? Okay, let's keep it to that. Sacrifice. You understand? Deities. Exactly. Sacrifice. And then even the funny part of it is when we talk about JUJU, we're not even talking about animal sacrifices as in chicken and goat and rams. We're talking about human sacrifice. Right? That is the general concept that has been fed us over the ages when it comes to the subject matter of JUJU. However, how would you feel if I tell you that each and everyone in this room and each and everyone watching online, every one of us is either a JUJU man or a JUJU woman? All of you here. Okay, I see the battle. Do you agree to that or not? It's not an imposition. Do you agree to that? Okay, some of you do agree, some of you do not agree. And you have a reason why you don't agree. And you have a reason why you agree. So can you tell me why you agree, and can you tell me why you do not agree before we proceed?
Well, to my side, I feel that when it comes to African culture. African culture, because we believe that ancient of days, our way of life is more like their belief. So what we believe is what will happen to us. But when it translates to the recent religion, what we are doing is we are worshiping religion. Religion is taking over the whole premises.
Okay.
The whole country now.
Okay.
So people believe that if let's say we are worshiping God, we've not seen God before, but we believe that there is what? God that exists.
Okay.
So in the same way that if somebody is worshiping an idol, we also believe that there's what? There's a God in it.
Okay.
So that's the way.
Okay. Okay. Please.
Please, I want to add to this.
Please do.
We are all worshiping the same God.
Okay, we are all worshiping the same God.
We mention God.
Okay.
And then the Christian side, they believe in God. So it's not about what we are praying on to, but your belief. Because they are all invisible people, we've not seen them before.
Okay.
And we worship them.
Okay. Wow, beautiful. So these are my fan base. I have two people with my fan base, so I need new recruits. So those of you that do not believe, that you are JUJU people, can you give me a reason? Because you definitely have a good reason why you are not. You definitely do. Or you are not too sure why you don't believe?
If I can add one thing to what she said earlier.
Yes, please.
When you brought up Christianity, I think many people look at that as like God.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we failed to realize that the idea of a monolithic, like a one God, was a creation because the Roman Empire needed to expand. You know, back in the day, there were deities that ran different regions. If you lived here, this was a deity for you, and everybody understood and respected that. But when the Egyptian or the Roman Empire start to become bigger, they're like, no, we have to consolidate. So I think we went from believing that we are empowered and we have our own deity, so let's just accept somebody's idea of God. So we stop believing that we are JUJU. We stop believing that we are already directly connected without a representation. So it's a kind of
Yep, all of you are right.
yeah.
I want to hear from the non-believers. You were very strong in advocating. No, you in black. I want to really hear. Yes, you said you're not a JUJU person, so I want to know why you are not a JUJU person. Tell me why you are not a JUJU person. And I think 4 people or 3 people behind you, yeah, they were part of your fan club, so I'm coming to them, you know. I really would love to hear your assessment. Yeah, you know, because you, the 3 of you, I think you were very strong in saying, no. I want to hear why. Yeah. Okay, so it means we don't have bold enough people from the other side.
I get to understand like what the whole JUJU thing is about.
Oh, okay, we said JUJU, you understand. It's a science that, you know, and we ask questions as to what people believe JUJU to be. You understand? They said JUJU is evil, has to do with witchcraft, it has to do with human sacrifice, it has to do with all this negative stuff. And I said, now what if I told you that each and everyone in this room is a JUJU person? Because I'm going to give you some information that will buttress what I am saying. And some people in this room, those that said yes, they have given me their pointers. And those that said no, you've not given me any pointers to work with. I'm trying to figure out what your pointers are so that I can add it to my collection. You see? You see? Oh, these ones, they have, you know, the real JUJU people. Okay.
People who do that JUJU
Yeah.
kind of, they are not human or they are not human beings. So let me use myself like this. I read, I was staying at the past.
Yeah, we want to hear what he has to say.
My landlord was from Benin.
Mm-hmm.
In the house there was this JUJU cake.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel that no, that is his God. His God is worshiping. Sunday I just go and go to church. But he does some rituals. But when I confront him, I ask him, so and he told me that he even prayed to the tenants in the house to get God and become and pay their rent and all that. So no, then this man has a good intention for his gods, the God that he's worshiping. So, but when it comes to Christianity, somebody will go to church today and come and sing to the fellow friend. So just like I'm a Christian, but let's call the deities or those who worship their so-called idols or whatever it is. But the motive behind that makes it what a JUJU or whatever it is. But I feel that from my learning or experience, I think JUJU is not JUJU, but how you take it or what you use your JUJU, that makes it a very hard. But let's take the local.
Mm-hmm.
These people go there too. It's a place that I don't know. The recent issue that happened with this guy, Fred, the hospital incident. The guy went to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. And when the truth came out, so it tells you that what the JUJU or whatever this thing that you are trying to undermine is not but it's a justice God.
Yeah.
It's a justice God, full of God. So I think, for me, I think Juju is not that anger that really is a bad, but the way people take it, that anger is that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think she has something to add, and then I'll go into explaining the major concept of Juju. Please.
Please, I want to add to it.
Yes, please do.
Please, before Christianity, there was tradition.
Okay.
And our forefathers were pouring their libation, praying to their gods, things were working. And even in those prayer naming ceremony, we do this pouring of the libation, the water, and then the necessary rites that needs to be done for the baby. Before now Christianity, some of them say, no, we don't want it this way. They still sprinkle the water. They still give the honey, signifying you bringing out the truth, and what is false, you are supposed to say is false. But it's the same thing. So I think with their worship and everything is the right way. Even though it's the right way. And secondly, since our foreparents worship that and we are born into it, we automatically juju people. Because we are Africans and it's part of us. It's part of our DNA.
Juju is part of the African DNA, and I truly agree with what you are saying, that Juju is part of our DNA. However, to give you much better clarification on the subject matter of Juju, I want you to pay attention and then flow with me. He said, what is Juju? The universe is made up of balance, harmony, order, serenity. The fundamental order of all creation exists in an ever blissful coordination, which is the coordination. The fundamental order of all creation exists in an ever blissful coordination. What would be the essence of sunshine without rainfall? What would be the essence of sunshine without rainfall? What would be the essence of day without night? What would be the essence of black without white? What would be the essence of men without women? What would be the essence of the male without female? And what would be the essence of circles devoid of lines? What would be the essence of the sun without the moon? And what would be the essence of life without death? God is the opposite of evil. Good. Just as good is the opposite of evil, God is the opposite of the devil. Now, when we talk about good, or we talk about God, if you take one O out of good, what do you get? God. If you take one O out of good, what do you get? God. If you take one O out of good, what do you get? God. Okay, if you add D before evil, what do you get? God. If you add D before evil, what do you get? God. Okay, we will get to that. So everything exists in opposites, producing balance. The whole universe exists in the core of every being as its soul, or divine essence. You can call it the divine presence. The soul is held together by billions of interconnecting atoms, molecules, and chemical compounds. These cause chemical reactions to produce the force that we call chi. Chi is a word, it's a Chinese word. Sum or sum sum, which is an Akan word. Or ki, which is a Japanese word. Or energy, which is an English word. Or Holy Spirit, right? Or the Ruach, which is Hebrew. And then the Ruhu. The Ruhu is Arabic. Ruach is Hebrew. All these ones are names that is quantified in Christianity as the Holy Spirit. In Chinese, what we know as Holy Spirit is known as Qi. In Japanese, what we know as Holy Spirit is known as Ki. In Hebrew, what we know as Holy Spirit is known as Ruach. In Arabic, what we know as Holy Spirit is known as Ruhu. Okay. This energy, or Qi, or Holy Spirit, is ever present as at the core of creation, and is termed as Ejo. How many of you are ever here? What is Ejo? When we say Ejo, fire. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The energy, the Qi, Holy Spirit, Ruh, Ruach, Sumsum, and all these words is ever present at the core of creation and is determined as Ejo, which translates as fire. This Ejo, or fire, or energy, or Holy Spirit is also ever present at the core of the physical universe. To reach enlightenment, one must consistently culture their Ejo, which is the inner Qi, to connect, sustain, and maintain a consistent connection and be one with the Ejo of the universe, which is the outer Qi. Let me explain it this way. Everybody seated here has what in them? Ejo. You have fire in you. You have animation in you. You have energy in you. It is the Ejo that makes you see, walk, talk, move, act, think, sleep, digest. All the energy that you expound on a daily basis is because of the animation in you. It's because of the energy in you. When you eat your gobe, right? It is the energy encapsulated in the beans, the energy encapsulated in the palm oil, the energy encapsulated in the gari. Those are things that your body imbibes and it gives it energy. The only reason why you have energy from the food that you eat is because the food itself contains energy. If the food did not contain energy, there's no way you will have energy from what? From eating. When you are thirsty, you become weak. Your body becomes weak, right? When you drink water, what happens? You get revived, you get nourished because it contains energy. So your body feeds off the energy that is contained in the water. So this physical body has two things that it does. It already has the inner Qi, the internal Qi, and then there's the outer Qi, the outer energy, the outer Ejo. So eating your gobe, the gobe contains the external Ejo. So when you eat your food, the energy in the food will require the enzymes in your body, which are unseen, to be able to break down and absorb what? The energy from the gobe. So your body can use it as fuel. Without the enzymes, the active ingredients in your body, it cannot break down the gobe to absorb what? The energy. So the gobe, which is the external Ejo, requires the internal Ejo, the internal energy, to be able to work in tandem to produce the energy your body requires. It's just like prayers or going to church or any form of worship. How do you become one with Christ? How do you become one with God? You become one with Christ, you become one with God, you become one with whatever you believe by expounding energy. Once you put energy out, once you put your belief into anything, you have actually extended the internal Qi to that of the external Qi. So when the internal Qi and the external Qi become one, Then you have created a jo. A jo. So a jo. A jo. With the passage of time became a jo. Jo. A jo. Jo. With the passage of time became jo. Jo. Which is the internal fire and the external fire. The internal chi in you and the external chi in the cosmics. That is why when you go to a church, those that practice faith healing, oh, pastor, I am sick. I have this problem. The pastor will say, bring a bottle of water. So you bring a bottle of water. We'll pray over the bottle of water. You understand? And the pastor will say, oh, when you get to the house, just drink a cupful in the morning and drink a cupful in the evening. What makes that water work for you? The only reason why the water works for you is because he has extended the internal chi in his body to fuse with the external chi in this particular water, because this water is made up of a composition of what? Two different elements, which is hydrogen and what? Oxygen. They are elements. They are living ingredients. They are alive. They are chi. They are energy. So the Holy Spirit in water is hydrogen and what? Oxygen. Write that one down. The Holy Spirit in water is hydrogen and oxygen. Anything that water is able to do to heal your body, to nourish your body, to give you energy, is based off these two molecules of hydrogen and that one molecule of oxygen. So when the two molecules of oxygen or hydrogen and the one molecule of oxygen come together to become the H2O, anything that comes from the internal chi, the internal ejo, that you spray on it, gets the H2O activated, and it does things that the physical eye cannot see. Just the same way when you are sick and then you have malaria and you are advised to do what? To boil some neem. When you go out there and you pick the neem and you crush the neem or you boil the neem, there's something in the neem. The neem itself as a leaf cannot heal you. The neem is only a vessel. It's only a vehicle that is actually conveying a healing element that is actually hidden in the neem, which is the chlorophyll. Because when you boil the neem, the water will change to become what? Green. So why don't you chew the neem after you finish boiling the water, but you throw away the leaves and you drink the water? Because the leaf is only a vessel and it's only a vehicle. What you're actually looking for is the internal chi, the internal ejo, the internal ruha, the internal ruhak, the internal Holy Spirit. Right? So to test for the internal and the external, I want you to all to just rub your palm. Rub your palm. Rub it. Rub your palm. Rub it. Rub your palm. And then slowly go like this. Slowly. You are supposed to feel something in your palm. Slowly. Can you tell me what you feel in your palm? Can anybody tell me? There's friction in your palm. There's magnetic opposition in your palm. You are supposed to even feel, if you are really advanced, you are supposed to even feel electrical shocks or electrical current. You're supposed to feel heat. By doing it, you're supposed to feel heat. You're supposed to feel friction. Do you feel the friction? That is how you test for energy in the cosmos. And that energy is not coming from me. It's not coming from Prof. It's coming from you. Hello? Hi. Is there energy coming from me? No. It's coming from who? Exactly. It's coming from you as individuals. So whatever you are feeling inside the pulse of your palm, that is what, when you develop yourself and your internal chi and the external chi become one. When the internal ejo and the external ejo become one, and then the ejo becomes the ejojo, and the ejojo becomes jojo, and then jojo becomes juju. So you see, you are all juju people. Every one of you. Everyone is a juju person. As long as you have the ejo in your body, you have the ejo all over your aura, you have the ejo in the food that you eat, and then you will reactivate the ejo on a consistent basis. That makes you an ejojo person. That makes you a jojo person. That makes you a juju person. Do I need to go further? Okay. All right. So it's saying when one becomes one with nature, with God, or Yah, or Allah, or Jah, or Jehovah, or Krishna, or any other name that we attribute to the Supreme, or the Creator, or the Source, the two ejo, it becomes one as ejo, the divine essence of man merging and submerging into the universal essence of God's reflection, extra and becoming extraterrestrial with extraterrestrial ambassadorial qualities, with natural authorization to bend time and space to our will, to bend time and space to our will, to bend time and space to our will. That is when you develop yourself, the ejo inside your body. When you develop it to a certain degree, then you can have visions. You can choose to see what you want to see about people. You can choose to have particular or peculiar visions in your dream. That is when you can pluck any herb, even if it is not meant to be used for a particular cure. But because you have developed yourself, because the ejo in your body and the ejo in the external have become one, and both of you have gotten to the point of ejojo, jojo, and what? Juju. Then you've developed that as a natural force inside your body. So then you can pick any herb, pray over it, and then it is still going to respond, because energy always follows intention. So talking about juju, if it is defined from this perspective, if juju is defined from this perspective, then it becomes much more easier. Okay, one example of juju is when you meet this girl and you like this girl and she's playing hard to get. What do you do? Yes. For girls. You sharpen your lyrics. Okay? You have to find ways to get into her head. You have to use any kind of means, by words, by gifts, by inviting her out. You have to put her in a position. Yeah, but all comes with words. Because the more you tell her sweet things, then naturally, everybody that you say anything sweet to, that person naturally is built to respond to say what? Thank you. Right? So you keep telling her all these sweet things, then she keeps dropping her guard. Now, the words that you are telling her, you understand, it is affecting the ejo, because it is coming from a place of ejo. You are pouring your energy on her. You are putting your essence into her. So while she keeps hearing all these sweet essences, then something in her body begins to shift. Something in her mind begins to shift. Ladies, am I telling a lie?
No.
Please help me out here.
You preach it.
Exactly. Then something inside her body, something inside her mind begin to shift towards you. You understand? Then she begins to merge and submerge into your ejo. So if you keep at it at that particular rate, what will happen at one point in time, even if she's not even paying attention, the least you say is, okay, let me think about it. So the fact that she says, let me think about it, that means, so my dear, no. It means that juju is what? The juju is working. The ejo inside your body and the ejo inside her body are beginning to merge. So even just toasting a lady, that can be quantified as juju. If you are cooking, right, and I come in and I taste the food, no, there's something missing. There's something missing because when I tasted the food does not contain all the components that it needs. So my body would naturally react. My palate will react. So as soon as my palate react, it must send all these messages to my brain. It must send the messages to my central nervous system. It must send that, that message all over the body. Because if it's nice, my body will go like, wow. But if there's something missing, I'll be like, So then what do I proceed to do? What's missing? Is it pepper? Is it ginger? Is it onion? Is it salt? If I'm able to figure that one out, and I do what? And I put it inside that meal, or I put it inside that soup, and I taste it, and now it comes out like nice. My eyes would naturally do what? Light up. Oh wow, that's the first reaction. The ejo inside the soup, now it has perfected itself. And when I drink it, I will get the wow factor. When you drink that soup, you also get the wow factor. Means the ejo inside your body has responded to the ejo in the pot. And it took different combinations of Kobe and Momoni and Ona, Wele, Kenibi, Komeona. To put all of those things together to create that ejo, that reaction. I know you have lots of questions, so I'll take your questions from here before I continue. So far, where we've got into, can anybody add to it before we continue?
Can your juju be heightened or lessened? Do you know what I mean? Like, can you, because it seems like if we're all juju, at some point, do we, like, lose it, or do we quiet it, or do we just deny it? Or while some people increase there, so can it be, like, is it effective based on what's happening to you or what you're allowing to happen?
Yes, it's always just like the network.
Okay.
When it rains, right? Sometimes, depending on the area that you are, then your network becomes very foggy. Then you are not able to get through, but it does not mean MTN has stopped working, right? It's just the environment that you find yourself. You don't have enough capacity on your phone, you understand, to be able to break through the environment. So environment plays a major role in increasing or decreasing the ejo inside us. The environment plays a major role in increasing or decreasing the ejo inside us. And then one way to quicken the ejo inside of us is through rituals. When we talk about rituals, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Rituals. Can anybody help me with rituals? Yes. Sacrifice. Rituals. Libation. That's a ritual. Sacrifice is a ritual. Libation is a ritual. What else? Ceremony. That's a ritual. Meditation is a ritual. And I'm surprised all of you are mentioning these things, but nobody is saying that waking up, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Every day you have to change your clothes. It's a ritual. Ritual is anything that you do on a consistent basis. Ritual is not necessarily lighting candles and incense and pouring libations and doing big ceremonies. That is also a ritual. But rituals are anything you do on a consistent basis. You waking up, coming to school every day, it's a ritual. If your classes are over the weekend on Saturdays and Sundays, and you are here every Saturday and every Sunday, that is a ritual. So once you are consistent, we have physical rituals and spirituals. You understand? The spiritual is for when we practice spirituality, or when we want to delve into things that are of spiritual nature. That is when now we are going into what we are saying as ceremonies and meditations and all those things. Because then we are doing rituals that actually activate the human spirit. So any form of ritual that activates your spirit, being it meditation, being it a spiritual cleanse, being it ceremony, being it a sacrifice, being it whatever, as long as it activates the human spirit, then it becomes spiritual. It is ritual that activates the spirit. So our ejo inside us, based on what we eat, can also lessen. When your immune system shuts down, it means your ejo has come down. When you have a low level of excitement, when you become lethargic, when you become very lethargic and you become very disinterested, you understand, in life or in living or in participation or in participating in any form of activity, that means your ejo, because it's the ejo that activates you for you to be alive, for you to be, you understand, in motion. So all those things are things that shows you that your ejo has done what? Has actually come down. So you need to find a way or a means to be able to activate that. Any more questions from the non-believers? Yes. It reacts. Yeah, anime, yeah. Surely. Surely. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. Thank you all for coming through. So yes, so talking about anime, talking about the ejo and its development, is basically each and everyone was born with a perfect ejo. Because your soul inside you, like I said, the soul is the presence of God in you. Your soul is the presence of God. So everybody was born with the energy inside of them already. But due to circumstances, due to environment, due to life patterns, due to family traits, then sometimes your energy can become very low. But the more you develop the energy, the more you develop the ejo, because the more you keep adding, your soul begins to expand. Anything you do that that adds up to your soul, it will expand your soul, and then it will begin to expand. The more it keeps expanding, it means your magnetic field is increasing, and when your magnetic field increases, then it brings within you or within your aura everything that you need. Everything the soul needs, whoever the soul needs to meet, whichever situation the soul needs to meet, whichever circumstance the soul needs to meet, to be able to fulfill its mission here on earth. So every prayer, every ritual, every ceremony, every thought, everything that you do to enhance the ejo inside your body increases its vibration. So the more you keep at it, The more you keep at it, then the higher you go, the higher you vibrate, to a point in time where even the Bible says that Moses became like the epitome of Yahweh or Jehovah. Because when the people saw Moses, then Moses became God to them. Because then the laws now didn't become Jehovah's law. It was Moses' law. Because then they didn't need to see Jehovah to understand Moses. Or they didn't need to see Jehovah to understand Jehovah. All they had to do was just look at Moses. Because Moses had developed that connection. Right? So you look at our folklore, like people like Confanoche, they've developed so high to so much, like their ego is so heightened that they become demigods. They become our living prophets. If you go to ever, they have people like Togbi Charlie, you understand, who were so developed, the ego was so developed that they were able to do magical things. It's all because the ego inside their body had become one with the ego of the cosmos. So once the ego inside your body becomes one with the ego inside the cosmos, then when that merges, or when it merges and submerges into each other, then that is where you are living the life of a JUJU person. Now you are in JUJU, because you can just think and it will manifest. You will just think and it will manifest. There is no peak. You can reach to heights, but there's no peak. You can reach your peak. You understand? But there is no barrier to it. That's why within here we have the atmosphere. Within the atmosphere, there is a whole different level of ego within the atmosphere. So if you want to penetrate into the stratosphere, you need to go beyond the energy of the atmosphere. If you want to go to the thermosphere, there is another ego you need. If you want to go into ionosphere, there is another ego you need. So within the atmosphere, we have principalities, we have powers, we have demons, we have angels, we have all these things that are actually within the atmosphere. That's why it's a sphere. And the sphere has its own ego, and how the ego vibrates, and how you can connect to that ego. And then after the atmosphere, to move to the stratosphere also has its own ego. It has its own devils, its own demons, its own angels, its own principalities, its own powers, its own hierarchy. So you need a whole different level to be able to connect to the stratosphere. So you can keep going, break through ionosphere, break through this, break, till you get to space. And then when you get to space, there's no limit to God. Because the ego inside you, the anime inside you, the energy inside you, the fire inside you is the presence of God. Once you lose it, you've lost your godliness. Once you lose it, you cease to exist. Then you cease to live. You are only existing as a number. Then you are only good for, censorship. Yeah, you're only good for censorship. You understand? So there's no limit to who you can become or how you can become. However, it takes a lot of dedication, and it takes a lot of commitment to be able to get it. Yes, Koku, please.
Is that us today?
Yes.
The ones that are good for censorship.
Come again, please.
Is that us today? The ones
Yeah. It's mostly for us right now. It's mostly about just surviving. We are not actually living. We're just trying to get by, because we've lost the essence of life, because we've lost the ego, that spark in us, the spark where, because remember when we were children, We'll just wake up when we're from school, we all gather, okay, let's go and catch golden fish, you know, and then we created our own world, our own universe, you know, we went hunting, you know, we go mango hunting, we go this hunting, you know, your father will come from work, and then you and your crew, you have dismantled the whole mango tree, the blah, 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 they have to go to everybody's home. You understand? Oh, this one not the one who came up with the idea. So if we dismantle something in your house today, the next day we have to go dismantle somebody's, you know, all those things were because we were active, we were alive, we wanted to explore, we wanted to know the world, we wanted to see, you understand, how the world was. You know, those are the things that help our forefathers to be able to communicate through water, where we didn't necessarily need to have this mobile phone, where that if I don't have a chip, or even if I don't have, how do you call it, credit, I can't call you. If you do not have credit, you cannot call me. But then our forefathers always had a way. There are particular trees that if I need to talk to Kwakuti, need to pass on a message, all I have to go 12 o'clock midnight, do A, B, C, da. In your sleep, you will get to know what I'm trying to convey to you. If you need to come talk to me, you go by the crossroads, you do what you need by the crossroads, and then whatever message you need to pass on to me, it will pass on to me. Because then when you get to the crossroad itself has its own ejo, its own energy, its own chi. So whatever chi you put out there with the intention of what you want to create, it will help you to just create it. When you get to that tree already has its chi, its ejo. So once you get there, whatever energy you bring from the internal, once the two of them merge and become the JUJU, whatever you ask it to do is going to do. However, JUJU is in two forms. Like our brother was saying, it is in the positive and also in the negative. But all of them has its blessing and its repercussion. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. It's a two-edged sword. It's just like having a gun. The gun can serve several purposes. It can be for protection, it can be for hunting, or it can actually be a murder weapon. So, what do you want to do with the gun? How do you see the gun? How do you use the gun? How do you use the machete? Because the machete can be used to chop down the trees, chop down the grass. The machete can be used to, you know, open the earth, put in some seeds, and then things will grow. How do you use those things? It's up to all of us. Yo, thank you guys, yeah? They have a class, they had to come in and be a part of our discussion.
I have a question. So
Yes, please.
we've seen like what you can do to increase your ejo and your juju, but what are the things that we do unknowingly, consciously, that is decreasing our juju, like our ejo?
The ejo inside your body feeds on something specific. Everybody has a peculiar color. Everybody has peculiar energies. You know, okay, for instance, when we say okra, which means the soul, right? In Kemet, it's called ka. And then in Akan, we say kra. So the word kra comes from the word to inform. Like saying, okay, before you came here today, if you were with people in the house, you definitely have to let them know where you are going. So the soul inside your body, right? The soul, the okra, before it took on this flesh, it already informed its creators where it was going. That is why it was given this flesh in the first place. So when you inform people where you are going, there are two things that are involved. There's a destination and a mission involved. You told them you were coming here. This place was your destination, but you came here for a mission, right? The mission was to be a part of this discussion. So, your soul actually has already signed a contract before it was given this flesh. And when the contract was signed between the creators and your ancestors gave you angels to help guide you on the way and demons to test you on the way. The soul already signed a contract, and for the soul to be able to achieve that contract, the soul has what it's supposed to feed on, what it's supposed to let go. The soul has its colors that are peculiar to it. The soul has its own peculiar day. Each and every one has it. So that is why in ancient Africa, when a child is born, before the child is outdoored on the 7th day, the diviner has to come and divine to find out who that child is. How do we grow that child? What should we prevent this child from eating? Where should we, or even what are the possibilities, some of the things that can kill this child? What are some of the things that can give life to this child? So as a child in ancient Africa, we go through all the ejos because we need to talk to your ejo inside of you so that we will know how the external ejo does not harm the internal ejo, or whatever internal ejo you have cannot also harm the external ejo. So both ejos can coexist harmoniously. So all comes to divination. Divination. All comes to the diviner reading who you are, telling you certain things about yourself, things you need to avoid, things you need to do some more, things you need to stay away from, things you need to be, you understand, all those things that they come through divination. That is when you will know the best way to approach your ejo, because every ejo is different. Some ejo is connected to water, some ejo is connected to fire, some ejo is connected to, how do you call it, the wind. Some of them is connected to, the earth. So it depends. Everybody's energy is different. Everybody's energy is different. So it depends on where your energy is coming from. Wherever your energy is coming from will determine what is required, or the prescriptions that is required for that ejo.
I'm curious. There's a school of thought that criticizes our usage of terms such as JUJU because of its, in their minds, European roots. We can also use other terms like tribe, etc. There are a lot of terms that we use on the land, but they have been used in negative ways by others. So I'm curious. I was intrigued that you decided to do a talk on this subject because it forces us to confront that. But there are some people, for instance, particularly in the Afrocentric community, that argue that terms like tribe, JUJU, etc., that we shouldn't use them. How, from a practitioner standpoint, would you respond to that?
Well, first and foremost, everybody is entitled to their opinion. And secondly, most of the people that have a problem with using words like JUJU, one, they are not practitioners. It's obvious they are not practitioners. And it's obvious that they might be Pan-African in thought. But being a Pan-African is different from being a traditionalist. Being a Pan-African is different from actually consulting shrines and altars, and at the end of the day, JUJU is our indigenous word. It's not a word that was coined by the Europeans. It's not like the word like fetish, where the Portuguese came in and saw the effigies at the shrine, and it's like, this is fetico, which actually means a piece of artwork. So all the pieces of artworks that the Portuguese came and they saw, they named it fetico. So out of fetico, now we have fetish. But even with fetish, it has its basis from an European perspective. But words like JUJU, those are our words. And we choose to define it as we want it defined. And our forefathers have already defined it thousands of years ago. And no academic, no amount of books, no amount of research can change those words that our forefathers actually defined, which has become a part and parcel of our DNA. So yes, they have the right to debunk that, but I tell you that most of these people will not have a problem with using words like mysticism. They will not be, have a problem with using words like, spiritual. These are all European terms. So people get very comfortable when we use European terms. But then when we use the real African terminology, then that is when people would like to put their tails in between wherever. Yes, please do ask your question.
As you explained earlier, in that direction comes from birth and divinity and direction. Let's just say if you're listening right now from whether USA or somewhere else, and you didn't have that privilege when you were born to be assigned and to be directed. As an adult, how can you find out how to connect to your ejo so you make sure you're feeding it and not, destroying it?
Okay, like I said, everything you needed to be, or whoever you are, you already are, but you might not just have recognized it or realized it. So it's just a matter of intention. It's a matter of having a discipline, a particular type of discipline. So if you have a particular type of discipline, it might not necessarily be a prescribed discipline from a priest. It's just a discipline that you find yourself connected to. And once your cry to the universe is you want to know what works for the ejo, the universe will always respond. Because the universe actually works on SW frequency. You know what SW frequency is? The short wave frequency. The short wave frequency is what the, the walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies use short wave frequencies. The army uses short wave frequencies. The sailors use short wave frequencies. So somebody could be stranded at sea, and then if they have a radio, then they can go Mayday, Mayday. Is anybody there? Is anybody? So if anybody who has a radio within that frequency, within that short wave frequency, that person is going to pick up. So the universe is, runs on SW frequency. So just put out your intentions, and your intentions has to be clear. Your intentions has to be positive, that this is what you want to know from the universe. How does the universe direct you? And because the universe you are only a subset of the universe. Your chi inside you, the ejo inside you, is only a subset of the ejo in the universe. Then you are going to be rightly directed. You definitely, because one, you are already a priest. Everybody is a priest, and everybody is a priestess. Everybody is a priest. Everybody is a priestess. Everybody is born in that, because everybody has an office. When we talk about priesthood, it contains different offices. So the priest is not only just the one pouring the libation or doing the sacrifice or leading the ceremony. No. The singers in the shrine, they are also priests and priestesses. But their office is to sing. You see? Their office is to sing. The drummers, they are priests of the drum or priests of the rhythms. They know rhythms, they play rhythms that a high priest is not even aware of. But they are priests and priestesses of the rhythms. So that's why they take care of the drums. So that is their office. And then we have the herbalists, the Dunsini, they go out and they pick the herbs. That is their specialty. Then we have the diviners. They don't go out to pick the herbs, they don't sing, they don't drum, they don't do anything. You just go to him, he will divine and tell you what you need to do, or he will divine and direct you to somebody to go do A, B, C, D for you. The diviner is also a priest. And you get my point? So the priesthood is in different offices. So each and every one who has a soul in them, who has the ejo in them, who has the anime in them, has God, has the creator, has Jehovah, has Allah, has whatever name that is ascribed to the source of all creation in them. So we are all living embodiments of the source. So just tap into the source, tap into the Ejo, and be truthful to yourself, and just reach out to the universe and let the universe direct. Yeah, from there.
So there's a comment and a question online. Rashida has noted that she concurs and well spoken regarding your most recent articulations. Someone by the name of MFPT, I don't know what the acronym stands for or what that spells. They asked, can we modernize these traditions? And is everything worth keeping, or should things be updated and or changed?
Okay, that's a very good question. Everything goes through evolution. The way we used to practice whatever we practice now is not as it used to be in the past. However, in modernizing these things, we should not actually move away from the core, because back in the days we used to communicate through calabash and water, and now it's the same calabash and water that has actually evolved to become the mobile phones. Back in the days we had Ifa, and we still had Ifa, and Ifa is the foundation of the motherboard of the computer, the zeros and the ones. The Ifa works on zeros and ones. Those that do coding and the zeros and the ones. But then in working with the computer, if you know Ifa, you know the source of where it's coming from, you will be a much better genius. So modernization is allowed. Modernization is allowed. However, in modernizing, we must always keep to the spirit of the core essence, because we could over-modernize and lose the cognition, or lose the cognizance of the core of what we need to preserve by trying to keep up with the world. Most of the things, like for instance, this, what I have on my neck, this is a quantum pendant. So this is like a whole shrine. This is a whole shrine that I have on my neck. So instead of that big old shrine where you have a 6 feet, 7 feet, you can condense everything into this quantum pendant. So this is a modern shrine. You got my point? So we can modernize, and then also in forms of where the Chinese have done, or they've taken it to a point where, okay, Tigari, at what frequency does Tigari possess a person? So when they are beating the drums, they're doing the ceremonies, then we have the scientists measuring the frequencies. So okay, at this particular point, Tigari, will possess somebody. So when it gets to that frequency, they know that, okay, at this frequency is where Tigari possesses somebody. Okay, so this frequency, what elements do we add? What herbs, what stones, what natural materials do we add together to create that frequency, where we don't need to go through the whole big ceremony? So if we have those little stuff, we can put it together to create that whole ceremony or create that whole frequency. Then we can put that in a ring. So you can have a ring like this, and there's a whole Tigari in it, and it will do whatever you need Tigari to do for you. So basically, modernization is extremely important, because that is why we are bringing this course, the Africana Divinity Studies, because the Africana Divinity Studies is actually to complete what Kwame Nkrumah started. Kwame Nkrumah wanted a modernization of our ancient systems. So in 1963, Kwame Nkrumah went together with this priestess from Latte, Konedi, and he went with a Konedi priestess to India to commission the seal of the Ghana Psychic and Traditional Healers Association. So Ghana Psychic and Traditional Healers Association was supposed to be the buffer to feed the Africana Encyclopedia. The Africana Encyclopedia was supposed to modernize or to collate all our rituals and then find modernized or modern ways to express them. So the Encyclopedia Africana was supposed to be a conglomeration or the meeting point between the scientists in the laboratory and then the scientists in the jungle. So that when we put these two herbs together, we know we can create fire. Okay, so how do we turn putting these two herbs together to create LPG? So that we can have a whole station somewhere where people can come with their canister and buy gas produced from these two herbs. So he wanted us to study all these things. So we need the scientists, and we need the physicists, the biologists. We need them to come to the field with us so that we can be able to experiment on all these things and find ways and means, to take this thing to the next level. Because that is the most important thing, is how we evolve with this type of information without losing the essence. Because India has done it and it's never lost any of its essence.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Kogu.
Just to add to what you were saying.
Yes.
I think part of the things we need to be cognizant of is like change is good, but change around what context. Because phonetically, when you change your tongue to make something sound a certain way, it no longer has the same meaning. Sometimes, a lot of times. So we need to be very certain about what we're doing, like what you were saying about the calabash.
Yeah.
See, the thing about the calabash is that when I think of change, you said the phone, right? The first thing I thought of was, oh, you switched it with a glass. You get me? It was a calabash before, now it's a glass. But when you change the meaning behind what you're doing, because you changed certain things. There's some people that pour change. There's some people that pour libation into a clay pot full of water. Full of earth.
Yeah.
Sand. So that earth replaces the earth that's outside because this is hard ground.
Yeah.
When you pour it doesn't, So there are ways to create change by transmuting and transferring other things, but I'd be very careful about the meaning behind what you're doing because it might move in another direction.
It's true.
Yeah, and change. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Just like the song we just released.
Yeah.
Y'all should go check it out. Change.
Change.
DJ Kofi talking drums.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know Kokuti?
Yeah.
Sir, do you know him? No, have you met? But do you know him? You've met him, but you don't know him. Yeah, let me use this opportunity. Yeah, because Kokuti is going to be a very important factor in what we're trying to do. Kokuti is the founder of the first hip hop group in Ghana. And yeah, him and Abeku, right? They started the first fusion, like using talking drums, and then turntables to create music. So they started this whole evolution of sound, in Ghana, and they gave us the first traditional Ghanaian hip hop that actually gave birth to hip life. And then the hip life gave birth to the Azonto gave birth to Akaida and all these things. Until now we have, whatever we have as it is now. So Kweku is a pioneer in sound. He's a pioneer in sound. So in terms of Ghanaian music and Ghanaian folklore, he's a very revered figure. So we like to celebrate him while he's still alive. Yeah, we want to celebrate him while he's still alive, So yes, Koku, I'm with you. I think change is necessary, but we have to be careful what change. Because this is one of the major things that happened to Ghana, that we lost almost everything that we've created because we actually originated High Life. High Life was taken from Ghana to Nigeria. Fela and all of them, Sonny Ade and all of them, they actually came to Ghana to study high life. But then at a point in time, Ghanaians wanted to now switch from whatever we had just because there was a new trend and everybody want to switch to that. Everybody want to switch to that. Even when we went back and when we were able to create a sound called hip life. And Ghana was the only country in the whole world that had something called hip life, where we were rapping in our own indigenous languages, and at the end of the day we were rapping in all these indigenous languages, and then somebody came in and like, oh, now we want to go international, and then they stop rapping in Tree, and they want to rap in like Brooklyn accent. They want to rap like Wyclef Jean, and they want to rap like Busta Rhymes. And then when they get outside there, they're like, who is this? So that is the change. Because they want a change. Yeah, so I think somebody has a question.
Okay, this is also from this.
African Americans who also doing the hip hop there. So if you are trying to be like doing it their style, they don't really have a much problem with it.
They don't respect you.
As far as it's not the white man, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
See, they still feel a connection.
They don't respect. But who has been in that situation? They would never respect you. Just like Jamaicans.
You know,
They understand.
The first time I did a show was at Independence Square. Chuck D was there. It was for Savior's Day, Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
And we were like the first rap group that in Africa, maybe. Like, you know, we didn't have internet. There was just one TV station. And when we got on stage, we told them, we were like, yo, this art form came from Africa. And everybody was looking at us like, who are these wannabes? And then we got on, we started rapping, and everybody was like, oh my God, what are they doing? This is amazing. So already from jump, they see us as copying them. Whereas it's really in essence, it's the vibration, the
Yeah.
energies coming together. It's like this is talking drums
Yeah.
over here, it's talking drums over here. They come together. We understand the rhythm, and then we merge.
Yeah.
From there, people realized that Africans could rap. The only reason why we would mix the indigenous Tree or the local language and English was because if we didn't do that, they wouldn't embrace what we were doing.
Exactly.
So when they start understanding what we're saying, and we say, "Oh, that's song," hey, what is this one?
Mm-hmm.
You get me? It's for the shock value, but at the same time, it was a way to get the point across in a way that merged like two cultures.
Yeah.
Now we do it all in the local language, but we've lost the essence of the hip life.
That's it.
It's like the wave passed.
Exactly. And we didn't write it well. So what are your thoughts on blood sacrifice? Okay, I get this a lot. Blood sacrifice, everything is essential. Everything that has a name is essential to the tradition and to the culture. First and foremost, before I answer that question, I want to build some certain thesis. Every civilization has been built on blood sacrifice. Every civilization. All the tribes, let me not even go outside of Ghana. Every tribe you know of in Ghana, every tribe, every town, every grouping of people, they were able to establish their kingdom through blood sacrifice. Why do I say that? Because people had to go to war. And in war, you either kill or be killed. So people were actually sacrificed for other people's freedom. The freedom we experience in Ghana here, a lot of people died for me and you to be free. The freedom that people enjoy in America, even the little freedom African Americans enjoy in Africa, that little freedom has come at a cost, where heroes like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and other notable people have had to lose their lives so that the message of peace or the message of equality could be heard. Islam had to go through over 40 battles. And all those battles, there was nothing like Swedish massage and shawarma on the battlefield. There was nothing like that. There was nothing like, a spa day on the battlefield. It was just pure bloodshed. So Islam has had to shed blood. Islam has had to kill. And most Muslims have also had to lose their lives to be able to establish a religion called Islam. Christianity has gone through the same thing. How many people has the Templars killed? How many people has the, how do you call it? Apart from the Templars, there was another one. Oh, the Templars and then the
Vatican Army.
And I said the Vatican, the Jesuits, all these people. How many people, were actually killed or murdered during the Inquisition? The Crusades. You understand? How many people died in the Crusades so Christianity could be established? It takes bloodshed to establish power. And then the whole of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the holy relic or the holy book of the Hindu religion, the first letter of the Bhagavad Gita to the last letter of the Bhagavad Gita was written on a battlefield. The first letter in the Bhagavad Gita to the last letter of the Bhagavad Gita was written by Lord Arjuna on the battlefield. And on that battlefield, there was nothing like barbecue. There was nothing like Kwakutui and DJ Kofi doing turntables and, doing, having fun. It was just pure bloodshed. So tell me one religion, one power source that has actually been established without human blood sacrifice. And I think the only one that I know personally is the African indigenous religion. It's the only religion that I know personally that has not had to be established with human blood sacrifice. However, there is blood sacrifice, which is also an essence of part of the healing. Because even God the Creator, Yahweh, Jehovah Adonai, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah all that, the biggest, most influential book in the world, you understand, the God of the universe, the creator of heaven and earth, in his biggest wisdom, before he could wipe away the sins of mankind, had to go, send his only begotten son to be what? Sacrifice. Blood sacrifice. He had to sacrifice a human being. But we sacrifice sheep and lamb and goat, and after that we eat it as barbecue. You understand? Yeah. I'm just being real. So all these ones are, how many people, how many children are sacrificing their blood for America to be great? Why do you think they still keep sending these troops to Iraq, keep sending them to Afghanistan? To keep, the blood sacrifice has to keep going. The wars that you see, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, the war of this, the war in this, in Pakistan, in this, that, in Indonesia, in, Israel and in Gaza, the human blood sacrifice has to continually keep going. Without that, everything ceases. But we don't do intentional human blood sacrifice. All we do is just goats, rams, and chicken so we can have a party afterwards.
Okay, so the person continued by saying, I fully understand what you speak of, but I mean specifically, prescribe ritual sacrifice for the sake of your spirituality or as part of spiritual practice.
Okay. So I think I made mention of part of the healing also requires that sometimes some of these things are karmic. Someone might have a problem, might have an issue, and that issue could be something that the person is only experiencing because it comes from a family line. And maybe whatever is there is something that has been created by an ancestor, a great-great-great-great-grandfather, a great-great-grand-uncle, that you are actually feeling the wind of it. Or sometimes the person has committed, I wouldn't say an offense, the person has committed something against him or herself or against nature that actually has become karmic. So sometimes some of these karmic situations requires that we use the blood of a lesser entity to take off the curse of a higher entity. So for the person, people who are at the point of death, or sometimes when people come and they are very sick and they are at the point of death, the first thing we do is we have to exchange their life. So we have to bring in a fowl, we have to bring in a ram, or we have to bring in a cow to be able to exchange the life of that person with the life of the cow so that that person can live. So yeah, so sometimes blood is required. And also if your energy or your head, is connected to a warrior spirit. The warrior spirits like the Tigaris, the Kwame Moshis, the Yaogos, the Etienne Framas, they require blood to be able to function. They're not like the Mami Waters and they are not like the dwarfs. The dwarfs require less blood. But if your head is connected to a warrior deity, then definitely blood will be required of you.
Yes. Another question that came to my mind has to do with, I guess I'd like for you to speak more explicitly about, in our context in Ghana, why there's such a reticence to publicly acknowledge the significance of traditionalists. For instance, we just had this so-called National Day of Prayer, but they only did it from an Abrahamic perspective, right? And many people notice that when you mention it to people who are even powerful stakeholders in society, they would shy away from even having a conversation about it, right? So I think that there's this reticence to publicly acknowledge it. Individuals in individual conversations, people will talk about it, or if you attend family gatherings, you see people practicing things quietly. But the public acknowledgement, right? John Mahama acts as if there are only Christians and Muslims in this country. Who was the former vice president? Bawumia acts the same. I mention them because they are from regions in which traditionalism is a part of the everyday practice, right? If you're from Tamale and Wale Wale, there's no shunning of tradition even publicly. But these very powerful figures, right, and I just mentioned them because of their household names, their positions, in their public discourse is like, let's not talk about it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's
Can I come in?
yes.
Before you go,
Yeah.
I think I have an opinion.
Okay.
I think one is because we as indigenous people and even people who believe in tradition have not really accepted who they are. Because even if you see a traditional person going to fill a form, they end up writing choose between traditional Muslim, then they'll choose Christian. They feel shy of who they are. So it is when, let's say, people of the African traditional religion start accepting themselves for who they are and being proud of what they do. I think that's when the African traditional religion will fully be represented. Because in every region, there are traditional leaders in almost every small part of the country. So coming together will even be bigger than the main two religions, that's Islam and Christianity. But traditional religious worshippers are not willing to come out. So I think that's one issue, one reason why, traditional worship is not.
Yeah, actually.
Who they are. So the thing about who they are is the question is who are they? Like, do they know who they are? You can't be something that you've never experienced. You understand? We're born, we speak somebody, we're taught to speak somebody else's language, we're taught to think in somebody else's language, we're taught to socialize in somebody else's language. That somebody else's language, eventually you become somebody else. So the question now is, who are you? You understand? Because until you accept or you know who you really are, that's when you can say, okay, there's a box that's missing here that you people need to add so that I check it. There came a point where, like You know those boxes? If you travel abroad, you have, I think, black, white, Asian, you know those things that then later on they added, they got more specific African American, and you know what I mean? That's because man them knew who they were, but we don't, and we struggle with identity. But until we get that identity part right, the other part will never follow suit.
And also to add to what you are saying, some of the encounters that I had, you know, for instance, let me use my household as an example. My father is a prince in Kumasi. We grew up in a traditional home, and like seriously traditional, you know, where you don't even have, or there was no way for you to have an opportunity to even switch at any point in time. But yeah, so you know, because they get exposed to certain things and they get into certain quarters, before you can get to that particular place, there are things you need to go through, there are societies you need to go through, organizations you need to be a part of, and those organizations and those societies require you not to really practice these things, because it's a circle, it's a bougie circle. Now, the only thing that will make them have any conversation when it comes to African tradition is when they are seeking for power and they have to come and do their JUJU rituals at 12 o'clock midnight. But that one they will find wherever you are, and they will come and do it Nicodemously. However, in acknowledging it in public, they wouldn't. It's a Ghanaian mindset. That is why the pastor will go to the JUJU man, will go and carry the JUJU pot, and then come and use the JUJU pot to do the healing in the church. And everybody knows that this pastor is using JUJU, but because he has a cross, so they will all do what? They will all go there. It's just like the white garment churches. Most of the white garment churches we have, the Nankaba, the Awoyo, and all of them, at a point in time, the British made all these things illegal. You know, you couldn't have a shrine, you couldn't worship traditionally, you couldn't do all those things, and if you were caught doing that, you know, you'll be prosecuted. So then most of the churches now put the JUJU, they dug the ground and put the JUJU in the ground and put a cross on it. So most of the churches you see with the big crosses in front of the church, where the cross has actually been, how do you call it, barricaded, there is JUJU under. They put the JUJU under there. So when the white people come, when the Europeans come, then you see us under the cross. You understand? That's why those churches, you see them, they're always in a trance. Let me check those churches with crosses. Why do they always go into trance? They're always in a trance. Somebody is foaming at the mouth. Somebody has prophecies from this person or that angelic being. No, it's the JUJU working. The JUJU has possessed the body. And they use the JUJU music. So the same JUJU music in the shrine, then they will change the name of Tigari, and then they will add Jesus. So where there is Yaogo, then they will change that one and make it Joseph. And then where there is Mami Water, they will change it and make it Mary. So that is how all those Nankaba and Odifun Cancer and all of them, they are Tigari. All those ones, me, I'm telling you on authority. They came when the white people started persecuting, you understand, the traditionalists. The traditionalists had to find a way, just like in Santeria. You know, when our people were taken over to the Caribbean and they were taken to Cuba and then Brazil and the rest, you know, they had to find a way to still practice what they know from West Africa, but they had to put the European faces to it. So Shango, they had to change Shango and put the image of Saint Michael there. You know, because Michael has the same attributes as Shango. They had to change Mame Water and put, you know, Holy Mary there. They had to change this one and put this one. So all that Santeria stuff, we were also doing it over here. So from a very early perspective, or from an early age, we've been made to shun these things in public. Because the moment you become associated with it, then you become an outcast. So I was saying something about my father. There was no way he should have switched, because based on where we were born and where we're coming from. But then the moment they get into that society, the moment they get into those circles, you are made to some way, consciously or unconsciously, shun that aspect of you. You are made to consciously shun that aspect of you until there is an emergency where you can go assess it, but that is not something you can be found to be associated with. So they know it, but they don't. And like my brother was saying, it's only within this time that most of the practitioners, that are advocating for these things, we are also like educated. Now we have young people who have finished education, who have degrees, who can speak eloquent, who can sit with a white man on the same table, we can sit with anybody on the same table, and then we can advocate for what is ours. Now we have people who can also deduce whatever is done in the church, and we can show them exactly whatever you are doing in the church. This is the version that we do, in the shrines and in the temples. Whatever you do in the mosque, this is our version that we do. So now we also have the templates where we can now go toe to toe. So that's why you see now there's more of a renaissance where it's been advocated that these type of practices should be accepted as a norm, because now we can speak their language and even speak it better than them. Because now we've also, apart from what we practice, we've now read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. We've read the Quran, cover to cover. We've read the Bhagavad Gita cover to cover. So now our forefathers didn't have that privilege to have the Western education. So they made a big mistake by educating us with a Western education. And then we had a traditional education. So now we are in a much better position to advocate for this. So talking about why they didn't have the National Day of Prayer and there were only Christians and Muslims, it was bound to happen. Because that was a personal, that was not a government initiative. That was somebody's private initiative. And then they rope the government in, because then they are looking at the numbers. Oh, the Christians have numbers, these ones also have numbers, and they have the influences. Because the Christians own the schools, the Muslims own the schools, they own the institutions, they are into the law, they are into all spheres of society. But even the practitioners who are into these things, when they are in those positions, because they are outnumbered and because they don't want to be tagged, they will never come out to be seen or to be heard. You understand? So it's only a few of us who will have the balls to stand and say, okay, this is who I am, this is what we represent, irrespective of where we find ourselves. So it's also something that is changing, and it will take all of us, our collective effort, to be able to have our own National Day of Prayer, where we don't need to associate with anybody. We must have our own National Day of Prayer and say, okay, this is what we are doing at this particular place. And if we invite the president doesn't come, then we know he's a hypocrite. But so far, we've not put anything together yet where we're going to invite all these big people and say, okay, we are also having this A, B, C, D, da. If our vote counts, then you need to make an appearance. So we need to push the agenda just as these people are pushing agendas. But we need people to come in and sponsor. We need people to come in and be able to say, okay, you know what, you want to do this, that, how much will it cost? Okay, we want about $1 million to push a big national agenda like as they do in Benin, where now we have the National Week of Vodun. Yeah, and they don't need whoever, they don't need anybody, you understand, to authenticate them, because we don't really need that. So I think we can be able to do it on our own,
Thank you.
Yes.
Any in-house final questions or comments? We've asked the same online. Are there any in-house or online final questions or comments?
I just want to add one education here is that religion is taught, and all the, like Wednesdays, the kids are in church. I think demonizing your spiritual practice, your own heritage, is the start of really shunning the idea, concept of juju. Because being in Ghana in these last 3 years, Ghanaians are really just like off. Anything that seems witchcrafty or juju, they shun it, because in school you're taught the Bible, and anything against the Bible is evil. So this is a kind of like, you know, that's the mentality. That's why as soon as, even if you wear black, anything they associate with darkness is automatically shunned. So I think it's time for the leadership to demand that, okay, if you're going to teach Bible, then you also have to teach your own traditional spiritual practice. But the thing is, the kids from elementary to junior high to high school are all, you know, it's instilled in them that juju, anything associated with that is demonic. You know, anything associated with that is dark, is evil. You're going to hell. So until we change their mindset, because we're indoctrinating children at a young age to shun who they really are, and they think that Christianity is more civilized, it's more the right way. I'm definitely going to heaven, but if I do this, I'm not going to. That's what it's taught. So it's for children. It's like that's bad and this is good. So until we have a balance in the education system, we're just going to keep regurgitating the same ideology of who I am is dark and bad, and who they are is white and good.
And as long as the church is still on top of the shrine in the dungeons, that's a very important, you know, conversation that is like all the big Pan-Africanists that I know who sit in the biggest councils at the United Nations, and they have the opportunity to speak with the world presidents and all those things, they fail to ask that question. So how do we talk about reparations, and we want reparations for the people? What about reparations for the culture, for the earth, for the land itself? Because the earth was the first to be defiled. You defile the earth, you defile the ancestors, you defile the gods, you defile, how do you call it, our source of spirituality first, before you even defile the people. Now you want to go advocate for money, for reparations, for the people. What about the gods? What about the shrines that they defile to build the castles and the forts? And on top of the shrine is the church. The first church in Ghana is built on top of what? A castle. And underneath that castle is a shrine. Go to, how do you call it? Also Christianborg, it's the same thing. Go to Cape Coast, it's the same thing. Go to Elmina, it's the same thing. Anomabo, go to every single fort, every single castle that you know. I don't know about everywhere in Africa, but the ones I know in Ghana, the church is on top of the castle, and there's a shrine underneath it. So what about that sacrilege? So that reparation that we're asking for, what would that do if the gods, if the church is still, you understand, built on top of our shrine? So maybe we need to break those churches, even if we're going to keep the relic, break the church, you understand, as a first sign of, you know, restitution. Then we can begin to talk about reparations or whatever comes with it. Yeah. Yeah, let her come in then.
So let's start from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
As a take home, because of how we learned what religion is, like the normal religion is this. How then should we define religion? I want that to be like a take home for us to go. So going forward, we know that we are starting from this particular point before we can get there. Because conscientizing people to move away from something that they've been imbibed from childhood. Because that is what we grow to see. That is what we grew to see. Yes. So trying to undo something that we've grown with all our years is a big thing. So let's start from somewhere. What then is religion? How do we define religion? Then we can take it from there.
What tribe are you?
I'm an Ewe and a Fancy.
Ewe and Fanti.
Yes.
So then you there, you are by the coast, right?
Yes.
So you just go find out who Mami Water is, and that's your religion.
Even our parents that were your best traditions, them that at least they know some things in their past and they know some things. Now when they are praying,
Yeah, they pray against
oh,
the family altars. I know.
Even your
I know.
I know. The last time I went to my hometown, Kwabena, I was very young.
Yeah.
But now Charlie said, of this.
If you go, they'll kill you. Yeah. Yeah, if you go, they'll kill you. If you go, they will do this. If you go, they will do that. Hey, Charlie, yes. Please. I don't go Kwabena. I don't go Bantama.
This is that when we go to the Kwabena. I'm going to see how proper indigenous
Yes.
and
Yep.
how the things are. And they're even afraid to send us there because the targets are going to
The devil's playground.
evil trap.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, the devil's playground.
Grab a boy, chess.
It's a joke, man. Yeah, but we have something to say.
You said that the castles were built on top of shrines.
Yep.
Like literally.
Exactly, literally.
That was their intention.
That was the intention. Exactly. They just didn't come and started taking slaves. They came first. All the way in Alexandria, they came, they studied. They studied these people, know how they move. Then when we started moving into different parts of Africa, they will come, see how you are doing, how you are moving, what makes you tick, because everything was so orderly, everything was so perfect. What makes these people so perfect? What holds them together? Then they study, then realize the source of our power. What do we fear most? What do we revere most? You understand? Oh, this is the source of our power. Then slowly but surely, they're going to find somebody that they can bribe. They're going to find somebody that they can make their own. They're going to find somebody that's going to show them. You understand? That's going to show them. And before you realize, boom. So they show them this, that. So every fort, every castle, there's a shrine inside. If you go to James Fort, there's a shrine. Asha Fort, there's a shrine. Osu, there's a shrine. Cape Coast, there's a shrine. Elmina, there's a shrine. Anumabo, there's a shrine. Keta, there's a shrine. All of them, there's a shrine inside. Why? I don't have to answer that. Hey, some people.
Like, I'm about to assist my brother.
Yeah.
We're all born like that. Oh, don't go. Oh, your grandmother will kill you. Oh, she's this. Don't do this. As I started doing research, I realized that my grandma loved me more than everybody on this earth. You understand? Okay, don't go to it. My daddy even don't go to his hometown. But I went, and what I learned from that side, as I came into me, where did you go? I said, well, I'm traveling to this. I said, oh, you should have told me. Your grandfather was the first richest person to build story building. So why are you running away from? You understand? I went there first, started doing the research. The people that they said they are killing people were my friends, and I was asking them, hey, what is this made up of? What is this made up? And I became like, Charlie, you are like, they start treating me like a king. The people that they told me these people are evil became my friends, and I started studying. And as I came back, I was telling them, oh, I saw the talking drum, the drum that can play itself, the war drum. They said, hey, then how do you know? So that is how they train us. But you have to come out, do your own research. They train us with fear. They put fear in us. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, I don't eat here, don't do this. The fear is within us still. When you take the fear out and start doing your research, go to where they say you shouldn't go. You'll see that the results are there.
To add up to what he's saying, my mom is, part of my mom is from Puduo in Evedics. They mentioned Puduo where death is what? So my grandma even never went to their house. So she died, then we had to go to Adan to do some rituals and stuff. Then I was like, no, I'm going to their house. When I stepped in the house, I went in, I told my mom, I'm going to the house. I was like, hey, you're not going to be able, like, nothing happened. I was like, what's going to happen to me? So the next time I went there, I told the priest there that, no, I'm home. I have to be introduced to the shrine, actually the deity, so that anytime I'm here, I know they'll be protecting me. So we went into the shrine, there we did several rituals there. Then we came and he was like, you these guys, you don't fear anything. And I was like, my own home, what do you want me to fear? So my mom is always like, we should do that, the Pujago people will do their things to us, they'll do their things. I said, nothing will happen to us because that's where we are from. Your ancestors were the stool of your people will never accept your blood. They might accept the blood of a foreigner, but not their own person. So why should I be afraid of my own? So it's all about our mind. If you're able to change your mind, you realize that everything is accessible.
I think it's also massive indoctrination because our sister was talking about religion that you have grown up with your whole life. How do you, it's like when you learn new information, you do things differently. And also, if you look at violence, where is it more violence than Western culture, right? They tell you if you go home, somebody's going to harm you, JUJU, but there are a lot of cities that, across the world that is not safe. I mean, over like 500,000 people are being killed in Palestine because, under religion. So Christianity has killed more people than you go into your hometown. But the idea of like, hey, I'm going to my hometown, they're going to sacrifice me. But I went to high school and college in Philly, and people get killed all the time. But you still go home. Do you know what I mean? Like, you still live there. You don't say, oh, I'm moving here. But it's just the idea of like, there's something primitive and there's something demonic about where you're from.
Exactly.
And then we accept that and we normalize it. So that's the problem. We have to just change our minds.
Okay, so good evening once again, or wherever you find yourself, the time of the day. I'm sending greetings your way. Thank you so much for being part of this discussion. Like I said, and this is someone that you want to listen to know that he is more than just what you see. And I know that we'll be having subsequent lectures, and we are as well inviting you to be part of us. Hopefully, by the time we are done, I don't think we're going to be done with this because day in, day out, we need to conscientize ourselves. We need to know who we are as Africans. We keep telling ourselves, myself, I'm also part of it. So maybe through this particular lectures, we'll be able to find our true self, connect to who we really are, then be able to face when an outsider comes to us and tell us something that is not us, we can, based on what we know, what we are ascertaining as a truth, defend ourselves as African. Thank you very much for being part of us. This is the Kwabena Nketia Center for Africana Studies. My name is Sabina Osamsasa. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.